However, Lu Fan suddenly laughed. But his eyes were cold, which made Wu Gang tremble. Wu Gang felt insulted and asked, "What are you laughing at?" Lu Fan shook his head and said, "It's nothing. I just didn't expect that there would be two vicious dogs biting people in such a big company. I think it's funny. Who do you think is a bad dog?" Wu Gang and Wang Baifeng face a change. They did not expect Lu Fan not only did not retreat, but also in turn provocative. This makes them feel superior and unbearable. You are poor. You have no money. No house. No car. You can't afford a wife. You dare to scold me. What are you? Wang Baifeng stood up and slapped Lu Fan. Lu Fan stretched out his right hand and immediately grasped Wang Baifeng's wrist. With a flick, Wang Baifeng couldn't control it and fell back to her seat. Seeing this, Wu Gang shouts to He Xiaojie in the distance, "Call the security guard quickly." He Xiaojie hesitated. She didn't expect that Lu Fan would dare to do it. But in this matter, she had a bad conscience. So she was in a dilemma. Lu Fan took a look at He Xiaojie and then looked at Wu Gang. He sneered at Wu Gang and said, "What's $6 million for money? I really don't think I can afford it." He took the diamond card out of his arms and slapped it on the table. "We just want to scold He Xiaojie." Corner of the eye Yu Guang Piao to the card on the table. Immediately can't move eyes. This is a diamond card from a certain bank. Wang Baifeng also recognized it. Suddenly confused, she clearly remembered that her mother-in-law made it clear that Lu Fan was a poor man. "No, this card must be fake. You are such a mean person. You dare to fool us with a fake card. It's shameless." Wang Baifeng's voice sounds like a duck's. "Shut your mouth," Lu Fan said angrily. "This is a shrew." Lu Fan cold voice to Wu Gangwei. "Since she gives 6 million, that I give 8 million. How? 8 million? Wu Gang murmured. He looked at the card carefully, confirmed that it was true, and immediately moved his mind. Wang Baifeng noticed the change in Wu Gang's eyes and screamed, "Manager Wu, we have signed a contract. And don't forget whose company this company belongs to. I just need to talk to Mrs. Yu. And your position can be maintained?" Wu Gang smells speech. Immediately scared to give up the idea. Hurriedly will bank card back to Lu Fan. This time Wu Gang's attitude changed 180 degrees. "Mr. Lu, I'm so sorry. The company has signed a contract with Mrs. Wang. I really can't help it. I'm really sorry." Lu Fan took a deep breath, stood up and said, "It seems that this time it's not about money. It's really hard to have a relationship." Wang Baifeng saw that Lu Fan was flat and immediately said with pride, "Poor. Rich people's world is not as simple as you think. Do you think you can fight me with a few coins? Get out of here, don't be a disgrace here." But at this time, a thick and magnetic voice came, who provoked Mrs. Wang. Hearing this voice, Wang Baifeng's fat face was immediately covered with a smile, looking at a tall and straight figure in the distance. It was the manager of Jiahe Real Estate Company, Yu Yuqian. "Oh, it's General Manager Yu. Where are you from?" Wu Gang and Wang Baifeng rushed up. Lu Fan also turned to see people, immediately feel a little familiar. At this time, Yu Yuqian saw Lu Fan and opened his eyes. "Mr. Yu, long time no see well." Wang Baifeng keeps a chrysanthemum-like smile and reaches forward to shake hands with Yu Yuqian. Yu Yuqian also stretched out his hand and looked excited. Wang Baifeng was flattered. He didn't expect that he would be so valued. Then, Yu Yuqian wiped Wang Baifeng's body and missed it perfectly. "Missed? Little brother, it's you." Wang Baifeng's smile was stiff, but Yu Yuqian's excited voice came from behind. It took Lu Fan a long time to remember that he was the uncle who helped to get his laptop back. "The card in my pocket is Yu Yuqian, the chairman of Jiahe Real Estate Company." "Good name. It's you, Uncle Yu." Lu Fan and Yu Yuqian shake hands. Yu Yuqian held Lu Fan's hand tightly and said excitedly, "Little brother, we are really predestined. If it wasn't for you this time, I'm afraid that piece of land would have nothing to do with me." With a knowing smile, Lu Fan shook his head and said, "I just did what I should do. You don't have to be polite. If you don't mind, call me Uncle Yu. Be modest but not arrogant, little brother." "That's good." Yu Yuqian appreciates Lu Fan more and more. "Ah, by the way, I don't know your name, little brother." Lu Fan. Lu Fan, temperament steady, not impatient, said, "How did the little brother come here to buy a house?" Yu Yuqian motioned Lu Fan to sit down and speak. Lu Fan said with a slight smile, "Well, but there is a little problem. Then he took a look at Wang Baifeng and Wu Gang in the distance. Wang Baifeng is holding her bag tightly, although her face is still full of smiles. The uneasiness in her eyes has exposed her mood at the moment. It's embarrassing to stand there. Yu Yuqian is also a human spirit. He can see at a glance that there is a problem. Manager Wu, come here. Yu Yuqian called Wu Gang and said with a heavy look, tell me, how did you give my little brother a problem? Wu Gang's heart trembles. Even if he is killed, he will not think that Lu Fan should be involved in the relationship with you, which is not shallow. He looked at Lu Fan, then at Wang Baifeng who came by. Finally, he put on his head and said with a smile, oh, Mr. Yu, how dare I give this little brother a problem? In fact, this is what happened. Wu Gang deliberately omitted the fact that Lu Fanxian took a fancy to the house and emphasized the link that the contract had been signed. Hearing this, Yu Yuqian nodded and said, in this case, there is a contract. Unless Mrs. Wang gives up, we can only go according to the contract. Wang Baifeng was so happy that she broke in and said, yes, Mr. Yu, there's a contract here. We can't go back on it. Yu Yuqian took a look at Lu Fan. The latter looked calm and immediately said, little brother, what do you think? Lu Fan also nodded and said he's right. However, I think Uncle Yu will make a correct judgment. Wu Gang's heart immediately sent a breath, but the next second, Yu Yuqian suddenly fiercely clapped the table and roared, Wu Gang, I think you have eaten bear heart and leopard gall. Wu Gang and Wang Baifeng were shocked. Mr. Yu, what did you say? Yu Yuqian got up and said, do you think I'm stupid? 5 million houses sold for 6 million. Is the buyer a fool who deliberately raises the price to buy again? Wu Gang immediately faltered and said nothing. Wang Baifeng's face was even more uncertain. Do you think I don't know that you've been following my wife's orders and signing yin-yang contracts to make profits? I don't care. But today you dare to cheat me? Yu Yuqian is like a fierce tiger at this moment, exuding awe-inspiring pressure. Wu Gang clenched his teeth and tried to defend himself. Mr. Yu, don't slander me without evidence. Wang Baifeng also explained, Mr. Yu, you can't default on the contract if you have signed it. Yu Yuqian sneered. The premise is legal. Wu Gang, I'll give you a chance to be honest. The most I can do is to be resigned. Otherwise, I'll wait for my prison life. Wu Gang suddenly shivered and knelt down on the ground with a look of bewilderment. He repeatedly kowtowed and begged for mercy and said, General Yu, I'm wrong. Please let me go. I'll never dare again. When Wang Baifeng saw that Wu Gang was so scared, she suddenly remembered another name about Yu Yuqian, Tiger Head Yu Yuqian. If you are not angry, no one dares to provoke you. That is Yu Yuqian. Thinking of this, Wang Baifeng suddenly said, Mr. Yu, we are all old friends. Why should we be so serious? This time I just want to buy a house for my son. If it's a big deal, I don't want to give it to your little brother. At this point, Wang Baifeng can only choose to be wise and protect herself. Wang Baifeng, you're smart, but you dare to take advantage of my wife's name. You really don't pay attention to me. In the future, let's stop the cooperation with your company. Wang Baifeng's fat face trembled, and she almost fell to the ground. Her voice was sharp and pleaded. Mr. Yu, you can't do this, Lu Fan. It's all your fault. I won't let you go. The security guard, let these two go quickly. Yu Yuqian denounced that the next second, if a security guard really took Wu Gang and Wang Baifeng out. Uncle Yu is powerful. Lu Fan can't help but flatter Yu Yuqian. Yu Yuqian was very helpful. He said with a smile, little brother, I'll make you laugh. Being the boss is like this. If you can't do everything yourself, you'll be followed by moths. No, Uncle Yu is really happy. Thank you for coming out for me. Lu Fan is really grateful, but also realized that people just rich is really not enough. It's just a small matter. It's far worse than what you've done for me, little brother. How can I give you this house? Yu Yuqian's words are astonishing. He acts from his heart and never wants to owe others. Seeing that Lu Fan cares so much about the house, Yu Yuqian thinks that he can't resist the temptation. But to his surprise, Lu Fan shook his head. Uncle Yu, there's no need. I can afford it. Yu Yuqian was surprised to see the card in Lu Fan's hand. He said, I see. My little brother is hidden. Lu Fan is so casually dressed that it's damned that others can regard him as a rich person. Yu Yuqian no longer insists. Lu Fan finally chose to sign a contract with He Xiaojia. The little girl's previous performance gave him a good impression. Xiaojia's happy look in her eyes can't be covered up. At least she can get a commission of tens of thousands of yuan by signing this order. Mom, I bought a new house. I'll pick you up tomorrow. As soon as Lu Fan left the company, he called his mother in the countryside. His voice was full of excitement. Finally, he could let his mother live a good life. What, son? You robbed the bank of 5 million houses. Are you teasing, Mom? The voice of Lu's mother on the other end of the phone has increased by dozens of decibels. Oh, Mom, how can I? I love to speculate in stocks. I'm lucky. I made millions and bought a house. Lu Fan finally made up an excuse, fooled his mother, lied that he wanted to have a meeting, and hung up in a hurry. Little brother, do you want me to give you a ride home? This just came out. Lu Fan met Yu Qian, who was going to travel again. No, Uncle Yu. I'm driving here. Yu Qian nodded and walked to the parking lot with Lu Fan. When they arrived at the parking lot, the sharp-eyed man came out early to welcome them. Yu Qian didn't bother to enter the underground garage for convenience, so he always put his car in the parking lot. Mr. Yu. The master was very respectful in front of Yu Qian, while Yu Qian nodded slightly and went to his Mercedes-Benz. From the corner of his eye, Yu Qian saw a pure white sports car. He was surprised and said in a strange voice, "Oh, our company is a big customer. You can put such expensive sports cars here." Then he looked at him, but he was smiling and looking at his little brother. "I see you again. How much do you pay?" Lu Fan is looked at by the big uncle's smiling eyes and feels uncomfortable. He laughs awkwardly. No. Lu Fan is curious. Really not. After all, many companies' parking fees are exaggerated. Lu Fan doesn't believe in such a good thing. Yu put in a word and said, "Little brother, what do you charge for this money? Let's go." Lu Fan is not affectable, nodded and walked inside. In fact, Yu Qian is very curious about Lu Fan's background. Most of the people who can take out millions of flowers with diamond cards are prominent figures in the society. He thinks he knows a lot of them, but he has never heard of Lu Fan's name. He swept Lu Fan's whereabouts at random, subconsciously thought that a BMW not far away was Lu Fan's car. Then he stopped looking and drove out. I've been happy all these years. The phone rings. What? The old man's old fault has been made again. Okay, I'll go back right away. Yu Qian was so worried that he hurried out. But he heard a roar behind him, and the sound of the engine was loud, which made you jump forward. Looking in the rearview mirror, he saw the sports car he had just seen. He also noticed the owner. It's him. Yu Qian's eyes widened. He immediately looked at Lu Fan with new eyes and quietly watched the gorgeous car go away. At the same time, he suddenly realized that no wonder Lu Fan didn't want to accept his proposal to send a house with a luxury car of more than 20 million in hand. Does he still care about a house of more than 5 million? Thinking of Lu Fan's simple clothes, which could not be seen in the crowd, he said to himself, "This little brother is really an interesting person." After solving the house problem, Lu Fan immediately began to miss the feeling of picking up garbage. He took out his mobile phone and looked at Wade's map. There are many places with dense traffic in Linhai City. The target place this afternoon is Times Square. Go out, low-key first. After putting Ferrari into the underground parking lot nearby, Lu Fan picked up the woven bag and went to the street near Times Square to pick up rubbish. In the alley, Lu Fan looked at the garbage everywhere and sighed that the host of pedestrians was really bad. At the same time, he felt a trace of joy in his heart, and Cat Waste began to pick up the garbage. Ding! If the host finds half a candied gourd, 5,000 yuan will be awarded. Ding! If the host picks up all the takeaway boxes, 1,500 yuan will be awarded. Ding! If the host finds a bag of expired cats and wolves, 50,000 yuan will be awarded. Ding! Lu Fan is quick with his hands and eyes, and there are no other scavengers here. But it doesn't mean there won't be any later. He took a mouthful of medicine to recover his physical strength and speed up the sweep. Hiss! Next to Lu Fan, a stall owner, who sells fried buns, looks at him with sarcastic eyes and says to the stall owner beside him, "These days are really interesting. People who have hands and feet don't do serious business and come out to pick up rubbish. Are they poor and crazy?" The snack stalls around all laughed. In their opinion, although running a snack stall is not a good job, they earn a lot every day, but they are tired. The garbage collectors like Lu Fan are no different from the beggars in the underpass under the surrounding. Bridge. The boss of fried buns is a middle-aged man with a mustache. He is as thin as a monkey. He is very smart. Lu Fan just glanced at him and said, "What do you know? We have plenty of money at home. We just come out to contribute to the city and protect the environment. Do you understand?" In his opinion, this kind of ridicule has become commonplace, and Lu Fanya has become invulnerable. The passers-by looking around naturally also saw a young man carrying a woven bag. Cat waste in the garbage bag on the ground looking for prey. Not far away, a few tramps in ragged clothes and with broken bowls came and begged people along the way. The way pedestrians hid from them was the same as Lu Fan. They will deliberately step away from Lu Fan. But the owner's words attracted the attention of the people around him. "Hey, come on, listen to me. This rich guy is telling us that he is collecting garbage to protect the environment. How selfless and tall he is." There was another burst of laughter, but many more passers-by laughed. "What are you laughing at? We are telling the truth. It's everyone's responsibility to protect the environment. How much damage has been done to the urban environment by so much garbage in front of your stall? It's funny." Lu Fan straightened up and pointed to a pile of takeaway boxes in front of the fried bun stall. The crowd around them laughed again, but they were in a state of mind. Although he's a garbage collector, he's right. I haven't seen such a messy stall yet. Yes, they've all piled up hills. No wonder my mother won't let me eat from the stall. Let's go. The pan-fried baozi stuffed with pork. Highfalutin was a strange face from all around us. He turned red with anger. He said, "You are not poor enough to pick up trash. You can pick up a garbage and say something so magnificent. What kind of people are you with? You love the environment. You have the ability to pick them up. This kind of door-to-door business, Lu Fan, how can not?" But Lu Fan still pretended to be humiliated. Angrily said, "I know you will say that. I repeat, I pick up garbage not for anyone. It's to protect the urban environment." After that, he bent down and began to clean up the packaging boxes at the foot of the fried bun stall owner. "Grass, you're a playwright. You can really pretend." Fried bun stall owner disdain way. The pedestrians around also have different attitudes. The playwright, a proper playwright, has a brain problem. It seems that poverty can really make a person lose dignity. Alas, it's pathetic. What a ridiculous excuse, but why can't I laugh? There are different opinions, but it can't stop Lu Fan from picking up rubbish. Ding! If the host finds 200 takeaway packages, 300,000 yuan will be awarded. Lu Fan was very satisfied, but he was also puzzled. System. A packaging box is clearly a reward of 1,500. 200 boulders, 30,000. How to reward 300,000. System. Ding. If the materials are exactly the same and the quantity reaches a certain level, the reward will be doubled and the multiple will be determined randomly. Lu Fan nodded, which is a new way to make money. Just then, "Boss, please, give me some money." 3 disabled tramps came, and the pedestrians around them immediately avoided them. Fried bun stand owner, immediately out of the stand. Severely scolded, "Hurry away. No money, a group of beggars. Don't disturb our business." The shape of the tramp was miserable. One of them, who looked very young, had wounds on his feet and was almost suppurative. He walked with the help of the other 2 people. Being scolded by the owner of the raw fried bun stall, the tramps are ashamed. But they are still unwilling to kneel down and beg directly from other stall owners. "Please, my uncle needs money for medical treatment, please." 2 black-faced tramps clasped their fists and begged to the surrounding crowd. But the stall owners almost ignored them. Some kind-hearted passers-by looked uncomfortable and gave away a few yuan. The tramp was very grateful and even called a good man. At this time, the fried bun stall owner sneered. "You leave quickly. They all said that there is no money for you, and his illness can't be cured with any money. If we delay our business, don't blame me for using violence." Upon hearing this, the tramps were forced to stand up and help the old man out of the alley. "Well, you're wise." This is the cold voice of the fried bun stall owner. Just then, "Wait a minute." Lu Fan, who finished cleaning up the garbage in front of the stall, suddenly stood up and stopped the 3 tramps. He picked up the woven bag and went to the old man in it. He looked at his injury carefully. The wounds on his feet were maggots and wrapped with bandages. It can be seen that he had done some care. "Little brother, okay." The middle-aged tramp turned around and asked for money. But when he saw Lu Fan with a big sweat and a garbage bag on his back, he just swallowed it. Seeing what Lu Fan was taking out of the woven bag, the tramp said bitterly, "Little brother, we are all hardworking people, so you don't have to give it." Before he finished, he was scared to a sudden stop by the 2 stacks of big red bills that Lu Fan took out of his hands. Lu Fan put it in the tramp bowl and said, "Take the money to see a doctor and make up for it." The tramp's mouth was wide open, his lips were trembling, and his eyes were bursting with tears, too excited to speak. Onlookers also saw the bowl of a piece of red. Eyes are attracted. Lu Fan blocked the owner's sight and thought he was donating money. So he laughed and said, "Look, a garbage collector donates money to a beggar. It's ridiculous. Is it donating garbage, boy? Don't be beaten by a beggar." Haha. He was full of ridicule. The boy almost ruined his business. How can he let go of this opportunity of ridicule? But immediately he felt something was wrong. No one around him agreed with him, and even looked at him with similar eyes. The eyes are very familiar. What is it? It's ridicule. He didn't know why. He subconsciously looked at Lu Fan, but saw the tramp kneel down and kowed out to Lu Fan. And passers-by and many stall owners look at Lu Fan with an incredible look. "Dear, there must be 20,000 yuan. So much money has been given to the beggars. It seems true. Isn't this little brother a garbage collector? How can he be so rich? It's very refreshing and special. Now I finally believe that his family has too much money." Picking up garbage is a way to protect the environment. Everyone's eyes changed when they looked at Lu Fan. A lot of girls show strange light in their eyes and murmur, "This is the real rich man. Help the person who should be helped. I suddenly feel that he is so handsome. How can such a person be a garbage collector?" Some people look down on others and say that they are poor and crazy. Haha, what a humble slander. At this time, the greasy uncle, the owner of the fried food stall, saw the 2 stacks of thick banknotes in the beggar's bowl and immediately opened his mouth in amazement. The 20,000 yuan was given by the garbage collector? He felt a little dizzy. "Get up, don't mention it. I hope he will recover soon." Lu Fan picked up the tramp and urged them to go to see the old man quickly. The tramp's gratitude made him feel a sense of accomplishment. He swung the woven bag, picked it up, turned around, and left. The style of that throw, forget it. I can't make it up. Lu Fan took a look at his greasy uncle, who obviously changed his eyes. The latter shrunk his shoulders and looked stunned. "Uncle, I really care about the environment." Lu Fan patted him on the shoulder and said with a smile. Greasy uncle's shoulder broke down and he almost fell down. The passers-by around him mercilessly returned his contempt for Lu Fan. "What's the matter with the stall? A dog like you will eat your food. It's no wonder you're so bad with such bad conduct. Come on, it's bad luck to meet such people. The Environmental Protection Ambassador is walking so fast. If I get to know him, maybe I won't have to pay him back." Greasy uncle muddled in place. Around the stall owners are still blind. Lu Fan walked out of the alley and came to the north gate of Times Square. He picked up more than 3 million pieces of garbage all the way. There is nothing more profitable than picking up rubbish. Ding! If you pick up half a suit, you'll get a reward of 800,000 yuan. Ding! The host finds a pair of broken eyeglass frames and rewards 70,000 yuan. Ding! The host finds a military boxing exercise atlas and learns combat special forces level. The next second, Lu Fan's mind a lot more about fighting skills. Even the body also appeared a trace of warmth. There's such a reward. It's great. The fighting skills of special forces are not afraid of troublemakers. Lu Fan was overjoyed. He secretly ran to a place where no one was. Hu Shengwei made a set of fists. His movements were steady, but after a set of fists, he was out of breath. No, it's not good to have fighting skills. This constitution is a problem. If only we could find something to strengthen our constitution. Lu Fan is not very satisfied. If he is not satisfied, he has to continue to pick up rubbish. There is a future in the garbage world. So he drove around looking for the right street. In a high-end tea house around Times Square, Bai Xiaofeng looked at the woman in front of him, poured tea for her, and said with a smile, "Yuan Yuan, drink tea." Fang Yuan's face was cold, and she didn't want to pay attention. In fact, she was also upset about how she found such a thing. Bai Xiaofeng didn't seem to see it. He still said with a smile, "Yuan Yuan, our business is okay. My sister recently found another rich second generation. That 300000 is absolutely okay." Fang Yuan lightly said, well. When Bai Xiaofeng saw her reaction, he finally felt cold. But he didn't dare to say anything. He drank tea in boredom and looked out of the window. At this time, a familiar figure passed by, wearing half sleeves of shorts and carrying a garbage bag on his shoulder. The cat bent over to pick up a bamboo stick and threw it into the garbage bag behind him. Bai Xiaofeng thought he was dazzled and wiped his eyes. This time, he really saw clearly. Oh no. Lu Fan naturally did not know that Bai Xiaofeng had seen himself, and his sharp eyes were staring at every corner around him. Just then, there was a conversation outside the tea house. Boss, it seems that pu'er is moldy. Moldy? Then throw it away. Then a shop assistant in a uniform came out with a garbage bag. Lu Fan's face brightened, and he came to business. He ran up with the garbage bag and stood by the clerk with a smile on his face. What are you doing? The elder sister Yu Guang suddenly saw a man and was immediately shocked. She was not abnormal. Lu Fan Lunglong, do you look so scary? Sister, don't be nervous, I just want to ask, do you want any more trash? The shop assistant's elder sister looked at Lu Fan suspiciously, glanced at the garbage bag in his hand, and immediately said contemptuously, collect rags? Lu Fan faked a dry cough and said solemnly, of course not. In fact, I'm a waste resource. Dispatcher to promote the secondary utilization of resources. Strictly speaking, I'm an environmental protection volunteer. The shop assistant's elder sister was dazed by Lu Fan's eyes. She immediately opened her eyes and reacted. She said in an angry voice, it's still ragged. Lu Fan embarrassed smile. This big sister reaction is really not general. Here you are, here you are. They are all hardworking people. The shop assistant's elder sister gently throws the bulging garbage bag to Lu Fan. Ding! The host picked up a bag of moldy Maojian and rewarded the authentic top Dahongpo with a kilo. The system prompt sounds slowly. Lu Fan's hand suddenly appeared a beautiful tea packing box. In his heart, he was very happy. He also loved tea and knew a lot about it. The market price of Dahongpo is dozens of yuan and hundreds of yuan per kilogram, but they are all substandard products. Authentic Dahongpo is more than thousands of yuan, and the price of his Dahongpo is at least tens of thousands. System products are all fine products. Oh, isn't this my brother-in-law, who's so busy picking up rubbish? At this time, a discordant voice sounded in Lu Fan's ear. Looking up, the man walking out of the shop turned out to be Bai Xiaofeng. Bai Xiaofeng is also holding a tall, fair-skinned girl who looks like Bai Fume. This should be the girl who asked Bai Xiaofeng for 300,000 betrothal gifts and indirectly destroyed his wedding with Xiaoxin. If he remembers correctly, it should be Fang Yuan. And it's not a fuel-efficient lamp. Lu Fan didn't have a good look at them and turned around to leave. It's too bad to meet this family. We have to change places. Where is Bai Xiaofeng? Willing to miss such a good opportunity to catch up with the front and gain power and inhumanity, brother-in-law. Don't run away. No, it should be said that it's the former brother-in-law. Don't you always say that I'm not doing my job? How can I even pick up the garbage? Behind her, Fang Yuan suddenly laughed, of course, with a sneer. Naturally, she also knows that Lu Fan, a good programmer, goes to pick up garbage instead of doing it. Isn't that sick? When Bai Xiaofeng saw the cold Fang Yuan laughing, he seemed to find a chance to flatter her. He stopped Lu Fan and said, I said Lu Fan, is it possible to make money by picking up garbage? Even the programmer quit. Can the money afford tea? Shall I treat you? Looking at Bai Xiaofeng's arrogance, Lu Fan suddenly didn't want to leave. He grinned and said, okay, then I'm not polite. Then he turned and walked to the tea house. Bai Xiaofeng was stunned. When did this guy become so shameless? But the words have been said, and still in front of Fang Yuan said, Bai Xiaofeng can only admit. Waiter, let's have a pot of Billuacan. A pot of Long Jing in the West Lake. Tiguanyan pot. Lu Fan opened his mouth and came. The assistant was stunned. I haven't seen such a tea drinker since the beginning of the world. Bai Xiaofeng is to listen to toothache. Special this kid is can force pit oneself. Fortunately, tea shouldn't cost much. Fang Yuan frowned and said in a cold voice, he almost became your brother-in-law? I think he is a rogue. This is Fang Yuan's first impression of Lu Fan. Yuan, there's no need to be angry. This kind of person is doomed to be unpromising. Bai Xiaofeng followed Fang Yuan's words and said, staring at Lu Fan's back with disgusting eyes. Heart, coat of tea drink you. When the tea came up, Lu Fan only took a small cup of tea from a pot, put it in his nose, and then tasted the tea. The enjoyment surprised by Xiaofeng. Lu Fan, have a cup of tea and pretend to be your sister. Before Bai Xiaofeng finished, Lu Fan interrupted him. Write it down, he pays. Lu Fan pointed at Bai Xiaofeng to the clerk. Bai Xiaofeng was speechless. Fang Yuan looked at Bai Xiaofeng and said to the assistant with a sneer, "A rag picker can come to this high-end tea house to drink tea. I don't think your tea house is very high-end either." When Bai Xiaofeng heard the speech, he immediately took a strong attitude. That is, how can you let this kind of people in your tea house? It's really cheap. One of the shop assistants was stunned and faltered. You didn't buy him a drink. You believe what he says. You are so simple, brother. Fang Yuan seems to find fun, sarcastically. Xia Yuan, what happened? A little-eyed man with a Wolverine-like hairstyle came up. Boss, this is it, the little brother of the shop. Assistant came up to the owner of the tea house and whispered a few words. The man with small eyes listened and looked at the three people in front of him again. He seemed to understand what was going on. Lu Fan is still shaking his head and tasting tea. I'm sorry too. I'll invite him out right away. The man with small eyes twitches when he sees the garbage bag beside Lu Fan's feet. Sir, please settle the bill first. The owner of the tea house was polite on the surface, but cold on the face. Lu Fan naturally heard their conversation just now. He slowly turned around, holding the cup and spitting a mouthful of pu'er tea back in front of the owner of the tea booth. Is this the good tea in the high-end tea house? It's really high-end. The tea house owner's eyes narrowed when he heard the speech. It's not just about not paying. What do you mean? Bai Xiaofeng and Fang Yuan are almost ready to laugh. The goods are still loaded. Lu Fan disdained to smile, bent down to pick up a delicate packaging bag and handed it to the tea house owner. Go ahead and soak it for me, if you really have a vision. The owner of the tea house took it with a straight face, opened the bag face to face, and was stunned to see what was inside. He bowed his head and smelled, then twisted one carefully and chewed it in his mouth. Suddenly his face became complicated and he looked at Lu Fan in shock. This is Dahongpo? He had drunk it at a tea party, but he felt that the Dahongpo was more advanced. Lu Fan looked at the boss's change with a smile, and then said, "It's worthy of opening a tea house. This is the authentic top Dahongpo. I usually drink it as a drink. After all, it's worthy of my identity." After that, he looked very sad. But, you're not picking up junk. Tea house owner wants to talk, but stops. Who can pick up the rags and take out a kilo of Dahongpo? No. No, Lu Fan shook his finger and sighed. Picking up junk is just our hobby. There's no way. We're so poor that we only have money left. We can only come out and do some public welfare. The boss of the tea booth is grinning. How can the owner blow so much? After hearing Dahongpo, Bai Xiaofeng and Fang Yuan were also surprised. They can't afford to drink things that cost tens of thousands of yuan. Lu Fan, how can you have this kind of good tea? Pick up the rags. Bai Xiaofeng gritted his teeth. He felt guilty when he said this. Or you stole it. Fang Yuan agrees that she can't stand being beaten in the face. The boss of the tea house looks at Lu Fan in the wrong way again. Lu Fan sighs in his heart that the business of picking up garbage is very profitable, but he often needs to prove himself, which is troublesome. I'm going to take out the diamond card to frighten you. At this time, the car flew outside the door, followed by a clerk ran in. Who's the white Ferrari at the door? Can you move it? The shop assistant asked cautiously. That's Ferrari and Ferrari. The owners of BMW X5 nearby are almost crying, and they can't afford to pay for the damage. Other shop assistants could not help scanning around to see what the owner of the luxury car looked like. Sorry, it should be mine. A voice suddenly rang out. Lu Fan took out the car key and said, with a smile, "Please help me to get off the car." In an instant, there was no sound in the shop. Bai Xiaofeng and Fang Yuan are confused. The owner of the tea house looked strange and surprised. The eyes of the shop assistants are all focused on Lu Fan. The clerk at the door nodded and took the key, respectfully in the strange atmosphere of the shop. Can you make tea, boss? Lu Fan patted the tea house owner on the shoulder, and the latter reflected it. Oh, yes, I'll go right away. Just a moment. The boss of the tea booth suddenly opened his eyes and ran to the counter at the speed of 100 meters. Lu Fan looks at Bai Xiaofeng and Fang Yuan, who look at each other. Beauty, do you want to take a ride in my car? Lu Fan said with a smile. Bai Xiaofeng suddenly angry. This is in front of him to tease his fiancée? Lu Fan, what do you want to do? Lu Fan ignored Bai Xiaofeng and looked directly at Fang Yuan. You're kidding. Fang Yuan is also angry, but Lu Fan hears a trace of hesitation. Ferrari is not cool enough, only you and me. The latter said you would like to sit behind the bike with him and laugh. Lu Fan is a good guide. What you said is true. Fang Yuan's breath was a little short, and her voice was obviously relieved. Bai Xiaofeng was worried. He held Fang Yuan's arm tightly and said, Yuan, don't listen to him. He's cheating you. It's not his car at all. He's a poor man. Get Lu Fan's promise. Fang Yuan even retort words are gone. She looked at the side of Bai Xiaofeng. Only feel extremely disgusted. Shut up. You, they have Ferrari. What do you have, who is poor? You have no number in your heart. Fang Yuan releases Bai Xiaofeng's hand, walks towards Lu Fan with her long white legs, and holds Lu Fan's arm affectionately. Yuan, how can you do that? Bai Xiaofeng couldn't believe his eyes. Don't call me Yuan. I feel sick. From today on, we'll break up? Fang Yuan said with disgust. Then half of her body was close to Lu Fan, and she said with a smile, Brother Fan, what you just said is true. Of course, Lu Fan said gently, but sneered in his heart. Bai Xiaofeng felt that the green grassland was shining on his head, and his eyes toward Lu Fan were about to burst out fire. It's all you. Bai Xiaofeng roared and hit him with a fist. Fang Yuan screamed, but saw Lu Fan raise his hand at will, firmly grasp Bai Xiaofeng's wrist, and gently break it. Ah! Bai Xiaofeng screamed and knelt down in pain. Bai Xiaofeng, you are a moth who only sucks the blood of the family. What's the right to yell in front of me? I'm so glad that I didn't become a family with you. Today, I'll forgive you for your sister's face. Get out of here. Lu Fan's eyes stare, and Bai Xiaofeng's mind is shocked by his fierce spirit. Okay, you wait, and you Biao son. Bai Xiaofeng was so scared that he didn't forget to put down a cruel word before he left. Is money everything? Lu Fan's values do not include this. But now he is sure that money can make people lose their moral integrity. The owner of the tea house brought the tea respectfully and looked at it eagerly. Where shall we go, Van? Fang Yuan smiles and winks playfully from time to time. Lu Fan, who was drinking Dahongpo, felt sick. You go. Lu Fan put down the tea light said. Ah, what? Fang Yuan suspected that she had heard wrong. Lu Fan said indifferently. I said you. Go quickly. See, you even have no taste of Dahongpo. Fang Yuan's smile froze on her face. The owner of the tea house, standing on one side, did not dare to breathe. You're kidding me when you step on the horse. Fang Yuan suddenly did not have the elegant state. Woosh stood up, took the cup to pour to Lu Fan. Lu Fan shunshura hide. Slightly hot Dahongpo tea all sprinkled on the tea house owner's face. No, Dahongpo. The tea house owner is more distressed than Lu Fan. Then he licked the tea at the corner of his mouth. Fang Yuan is about to leave, but she is grabbed by the tea house owner. Wait, tea money 2,500. In a rage, Fang Yuan takes out a stack of banknotes from her bag and throws them on the table. Glares at Lu Fan. Lu Fan, you are a psycho. After that, he dashed out with high heels. Elba, what rubbish woman. The tea house owner spat on the floor. Lu Fan is also haha smile. This kind of see money to see the eye open to the arrogant woman to stick to him. He is too lazy to want. Boss, the tea is ready you. Lu Fan got up and was about to leave. Before he finished speaking, the boss of the tea house came forward. Sir, are you ready? The bill has been settled. I said you. I interrupted again. Here is your Dahongpo. Lu Fan looked at the tea house owner's gallant appearance. The mind is actually in Dahongpo. Boss, I'll give you the big red rope. No more. Oh, that's not good. It's not good. The owner of the tea house cheerfully refused, but he was not vague and put away the tea. Lu Fan relaxed a breath lightly. Slowly say, I am to want to ask actually, your home has rubbish? The boss was stunned. Lu Fan opened his mouth, and all the expired tea and broken glass he didn't want in the shop were put into his woven bag. Thank you. Lu Fan threw the woven bag on his shoulder and swaggered out of the tea house. The owner of the tea house went with all the shop assistants at random and watched Lu Fan leave with a Ferrari. Boss, what do you think of the rich people now? The shop assistant sighed. I don't know. Maybe this is the realm, murmured the tea house owner. After drinking a bellyful of tea, satisfied. Lu Fan continued to drive around, looking for the garbage collection area. All the way naturally attracted countless or envious eyes. Linhai is a big city. There are many places he can go. It's just a little too flashy. At this time, the system prompt sound suddenly sounded. Ding! The host meets the conditions for receiving equipment. Do you want to receive it? Lu Fan Lung, what is it? An equipment. Get it. The next second, Lu Fan behind a cool. He slowly turned back. A steel beast on the back seat came into view. With double handlebars, horizontal bar in front, and car seat in back. You can feel the vicissitudes of life. What's so special about this bike? It's a perpetual brand bike 30 years ago. There are 2 plastic buckets hanging beside the car seat. Needless to say, they must be used for collecting garbage. System, do you mean I should ride it to collect garbage? Lu Fan has a bit of toothache. Yes, the host needs to correct one point. This is the infinite brand e-bike. Please understand the specific beauty. The chance of special reward will double if you pick up. Rubbish by unlimited brand e-bike. The system seems to be advertising. However, this advertisement is still so attractive. Lu Fan took Ferrari and bicycle comparison for a long time. Finally had to bear the pain, quietly put away Ferrari. Put on this advanced bicycle. Although he said that he disliked the bicycle, when Lu Fan really got on it, he immediately felt its magic. It can actually move with its own mind. Even if it is riding in person, it can easily speed up. It is effortless. If not too afraid of shocking the world. Lu Fan estimated that the speed of 70 miles per hour would be okay. Good car, good car. Lu Fanla, haha, is like a child who gets a lollipop. The next morning, Lu Fan rode on the road. The landlord who passed by saw the big iron box. Before he said anything, Lu Fan sped up, the dust rose. And the landlord was in a mess. I must be dreaming. Is that a bicycle? The garbage cans on both sides of the car seat are not as big as woven bags, but they are very solid. Otherwise, they would be okay if they were hit with stones by the 2 children on the opposite side. At this time, Lu Fan glares at the 2 children in front of the primary school. The 8 or 9-year-old child is the most naughty. What's the matter? Rags, go away. Dirty, stinking. The little boy didn't go to school with his school bag on his back. When he saw Lu Fan looking at them coldly, he felt funny and kept making faces and throwing stones. Not far away stood a school worker and a small number of female teachers. But they turned a blind eye to this. Lu Fan can't help but sulk. He is the most exasperating bear. What's more, as a teacher, he doesn't know how to educate his students. He turned his eyes, then stopped to one side, took out $300 bills, and pretended to count the money. The 2 students were cursing hard, but when they saw the money, their voice suddenly turned down. Lu Fan pointed to them and looked at the money in his hand. The 2 children couldn't resist the temptation. See the money? Sell me your textbooks. They're all yours. Lu Fan said with a smile. Good. Ding. I found 2 sets of general textbooks for the 3rd grade of primary school and awarded the full professional degree certificate of university. Lu Fan's mind suddenly more numerous knowledge. There is a moment he felt that he has become a person of all knowledge. The 2 children rushed to the school shop with money. Stop. Where's your school bag? The female teacher stopped them. 3 seconds later, the female teacher rushed out of the school gate and looked around for the criminal with eagle eyes. However, Lu Fan had already left. Asshole. The female teacher was so angry that she looked back at the 2 shivering children. They felt that the end was coming. After cleaning up the bear, Lu Fan is in a good mood, riding a bicycle and walking leisurely. With this equipment, his goal is no longer the garbage on the roadside. Residents' houses, restaurants, and other places became his raiding sites. Auntie, is there anything you don't want at home? Sir, do you have any waste products? Uncle, do you want any more waste paper? Lu Fan's balance goes up with his mother's sympathetic smile, Uncle's hatred for the iron stick, and Uncle's disdainful eyes. At the same time, he felt his face was invulnerable. It was noon in a flash. I was thinking of finding a place to eat when my cell phone rang. It's He Xiaojia. Mr. Lu, may I treat you to dinner? Why? Lu Fan Lung said. He Xiaojia seemed to hesitate for a moment, then said with a smile, well, Mr. Lu, because I earned a lot of commission when I first came to the company, so I want to invite you to dinner. I'm in Yixianjuan, and I'll wait for you here. Lu Fan refused. Forget it, don't be so polite. After all, you have helped me a lot. Mr. Lu, Tycoon, this is my first treat. I have promised my colleagues that you will come. You are so kind, honest, and compassionate. You will agree, right? Please, he Xiaojia said in a pleading tone. Lu Fan said with a smile. Well, don't flatter me. I'll see you in Yishang Garden later. Well, thank you, boss. Yixianjuan is 2 kilometers away from him, but it is nothing in front of the bicycle. 3 minutes later, Lu Fan came to the elegant and high-end Yishang Garden. I want to park, but I find that there are luxury cars all around. His infinite iron box stands out. Lu Fan doesn't care at all. These luxury cars are not as valuable as his big iron box in his eyes. When he stops, he has to go in. Stop, there's no rubbish here. Yixianjuan, a guard brother, stopped him immediately. Lu Fan didn't look at the guard brother and said, I'm here for dinner. Eat. Don't be kidding, brother. Do you bring garbage bags into the door for dinner? The guard brother squinted at him and did not move. Look what you said, brother. Can it be a garbage bag? This is my lucky bag. I can sit on hundreds of millions of assets at a young age and rely on it to cover them. Lu Fanxin swore. The guard brother heard a black thread and said with a toothache, Brother, I'm convinced you. You've blown yourself out of space. But if I let you in like this, I'm afraid I'll lose my job. Lu Fan heart tired. I really have money. Oh, I don't believe it. The guard sneered. Someone asked me out. Lu Fan glared. Ha 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 ha. Isn't that funny? Lu Fan is so angry that he wants to beat him. But under dials he Xiaojia's telephone. Comes out to pick me up. 30 seconds later, he Xiaojia ran out of Yishang Garden. Today, she is wearing jeans, white shirt, and canvas shoes. Her long black hair falls behind her ears. Her skin is white and looks like she has put on light makeup. Brother Fan, why don't you come in? He Xiaojia looks puzzled. The guard boy is silly. He's really here for dinner. But he saw that Lu Fan was beating his ragged bicycle there. May I go in? Lu Fan said with a smile. The guard brother laughed a few times and nodded helplessly. Yixianjuan's food is very famous. Lu Fan came here once and was deeply impressed by the Sichuan food here. So half of the table is Sichuan cuisine. Brother Fan, you really can eat spicy food. He Xiaojia was shocked by Lu Fan's patience with pepper. Mapo tofu, sauerkraut fish, spicy chicken, maoxuang. This is the opposite of he Xiaojia's sweet food. Generally, life needs stimulation. Lu Fan took a draught of his beer and felt refreshed. He Xiaojia looked at the man who easily took out 5 million. He was confused. Brother Fan, I thought rich people would not eat these things. What do rich people eat? Haha, I don't know. Lu Fan said with a smile. Maybe it's a fan. Those closely involved cannot see clearly? He Xiaojia reacted for a long time and giggled. I'll go to the bathroom. Lu Fan had a lot of tea yesterday, and his stomach didn't feel very well. He sighed in his heart that he had been doing the program all these years, and his physical quality had dropped too much. Just entering the bathroom, a strong figure came out in a hurry and hit Lu Fan on the shoulder. If Lu Fan didn't have the power-releasing move, he would have to lie on the ground. Lu Fan has not finished turning around, and the man is already running away in a hurry. Lu Fan shakes his head. The guy who doesn't have quality in the secret way, but the remaining light. From the corner of his eye sweeps a box of capsules on the ground, leaving only one capsule. As the instinct of the garbage collector, Lu Fan picked it up subconsciously. Ding! The host picked up a box of Wega and rewarded a box of Changshan plastic bone pills. The sound of the system is on. He looked at a box of pills that suddenly appeared in his hand. There were 8 pills in total. They were white, like the kind of sugar pills he had taken when he was a child. There are no instructions for taking the kit, but from the name, it should be a strong medicine. Isn't that what you need? However, he immediately reflected one thing. How could Wigo appear here? Was it the man who just left behind? Just thinking, one of the toilets rings the sound of pumping water, and a woman in untidy clothes comes out in a hurry. Just hit Lu Fan, immediately blush, quickly around Lu Fan ran out. Lu Fan is alone, immediately back a few steps. See the toilet sign, wonder, yes, it's the men's toilet. It was not until Lu Fan saw TT in the toilet that he suddenly realized that young people are playing wild now. He's been to the bathroom, and his head is still a little dizzy. The wine is really good. Touching the medicine in his pocket, Lu Fan swallowed and encouraged himself that it always takes some courage to be the first to eat crab. Snow White pill into the mouth. Sweet ZZ taste immediately let Lu Fan infatuated. It's delicious too. Lu Fan can't help chewing, soft sweet. He vowed that this has never had experience. He's kind of looking forward to his reaction to the pill. Get out of the bathroom. Van Goel, what are you eating? He Xiaojia saw Lu Fan chew constantly, seems to have realized. Lu Fan is also slightly stunned. Yes, what can I eat when I come out of the toilet? Bah, there is a misunderstanding. Lu Fan said with a dry smile. Do you believe that I'm eating sugar? Yes, I do. He Xiaojia covered her mouth with a smile. Lu Fan looks depressed. Don't go in first. Go to the hall to have a drink. In fact, Lu Fan was a little disappointed. He didn't see any reaction after taking the pill. He Xiaojia walked in front and was very close to Lu Fan. Feeling the fragrance of He Xiaojia's body, Lu Fan was a bit of an ape. When he realized this, he quickly took a deep breath. There were people everywhere, so he couldn't lose his share here. After chatting for a while, he also felt that He Xiaojia was a very dutiful girl. How could he think wildly? Why are you so red, brother Fan? He Xiaojia turned her head to have a look. Oh, really? Maybe it's drinking on your face. But soon, she found that Lu Fan's face changed. His eyes fixed on a corner of Yixianjuan Hall. He Xiaojia looked, only to see two men and women sitting opposite. Seems to be arguing about something. The layout of Yixianjuan Hall is very open, and the main style is quiet. And there are special pianists to render the atmosphere. Everything seems so peaceful. Pa! A loud slap sounded out of thin air, interrupting the atmosphere in the hall. The guests looked into the corner, the source of the sound. Bai Xiaoxin covered her red and swollen right cheek and looked at the man opposite with incredible eyes. Gu Yiming, you are crazy, she screamed, high above the sky. The angry man in front of her was Gu Yiming, the blind date introduced by her mother. In fact, she was depressed for a long time after Lu Fan withdrew her marriage. But her younger brother's result is just around the corner. In a short time, she can't get 600,000 betrothal, gifts, and 300,000 house down payment. That's right. What Lu Fan doesn't know is that if he doesn't give up his marriage, even the 300,000 on his card will be used on by Xiaofeng. When she gets the money, Li Xiaoying hates Lu Fan. At the same time, she scolds Bai Xiaoxin and quickly arranges a blind date for her. She had no choice but to come, but at first Gu Yiming gave her a bad impression. He was arrogant and talked about money without saying a word. He mentioned several times that he had bought a house for 6 million yuan and showed off his property. He despised her family again and again. She even suspected that she was just an object in each other's eyes. However, Bai Xiaoxin is not surprised that the other party thinks so. In her family, she really has no right to speak and is no different from a tool person. Just did not expect Gu Yiming just received a phone call. Actually immediately became fierce up, raised his hand is a slap. Gu Yiming held the edge of the table in both hands and scolded. Am I crazy? That's right. I'm just crazy. I said, do you collude with your ex-boyfriend to take care of my family? How dare you play tricks on me? Believe it or not, I'll let your white family go to hell. Bai Xiaoxin red eyes, trying to hold back tears. Choking roar. Gu Yiming, you make it clear. What does this have to do with my ex-boyfriend? Gu Yiming sneered. Well, I'll tell you why my family agreed to your mother's request for a 6 million house. But when I bought the house, I met your ex-boyfriend. I don't know what method was used to take away the suite, and my company cut off the supply channel. All this was caused by your ex-boyfriend. And your mother said that he couldn't even bring out 300,000. You are so funny to me. Bai Xiaoxin was silly. Did you say Lu Fan? How can it be? Bai Xiaoxin is definitely the one who knows Lu Fan best. She has been with Lu Fan for 4 years, and she knows all about Lu Fan's family background. She can't be so good at it. Since she was divorced by Lu Fan, Bai Xiaoxin immediately regretted it. She contacted Lu Fan countless times, but she was blackmailed by Lu Fan. But her mother forbade her to go to Lu Fan and arranged a blind date in a few days. In a short time, she couldn't let Lu Fan go. How impossible! Your ex-boyfriend offended me to take care of my family. I will not let him go. Gu Yiming is cruel, but his heart is empty. Without Yu Youqian's thigh, his company may be in danger. And Bai Xiaoxin also confirmed that it seems to be true. She seems to see a glimmer of hope. Maybe Lu Fan really has secrets and skills that she doesn't know. Gu Yiming's bad luck made her feel a happy feeling of revenge for reality. She felt that she should go to find Lu Fan immediately and retrieve him. It must be possible. Thinking of this, Bai Xiaoxin coldly said, Gu Yiming, you promised me that house. I can't be the master. I don't care about you. The blind date is over. Then she got up and left. Gu Yiming was greedy for Bai Xiaoxin's beauty at first, but now he has lost his wife and turned into a soldier. How can he give up like this? He said, you are a loser. What else do you want when you are a Bianzi? Do you want me to run like this? No way. Then he slapped Bai Xiaoxin. In the face of the slap, Bai Xiaoxin was at a loss, screamed, and closed her eyes. 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds passed. However, the expected pain did not appear. She opened her eyes slowly, and then there was a trace of consternation in her eyes. I don't know when a solid figure appeared in front of her, holding Gu Yiming's wrist firmly. Lu Fan. Bai Xiaoxin's eyes brightened. She never expected Lu Fan to appear here. She also saved her in time. Gu Yiming looked at the man in cheap clothes in front of him and heard Bai Xiaoxin's words. Then he said with a grim smile, are you Lu Fan? Oh, I'm worried that I can't find you. I didn't expect that you would come to me and let you eat Gu Yiming did not break away from Lu Fan's hand. He suddenly screamed. His body curled up and opened his mouth. Lu Fan's hands continued to force, gently twist. Gu Yiming pain almost fainted in the past. The whole person squatted on the ground. Let go, pain, line trough, you fast special let go. Gu Yiming roared, but his voice was much weaker. Lu Fan snorted softly. Who do I think it is? You are Wang Baifeng's son. She colludes with an insider and signs a yin-yang contract to buy a house. It's good that she hasn't investigated her civil liability. She's all to blame when she comes to such an end. Lu Fan's hand shook, Gu Yiming finally relieved, covering his red wrist and staring at Lu Fan with resentment. Go away. Lu Fan doesn't like his eyes and doesn't want to entangle with him too much. After that, he turned and walked to He Xiaojie in the distance. Without looking at him, Lu Fan. Bai Xiaoxin calls Lu Fan's name again behind her back. Lu Fan turns and looks at her as if she were a stranger. What's the matter? Bai Xiaoxin felt a tremor in her heart. At this moment, she really felt the sense of distance from Lu Fan. But she was still unwilling to say, Lu Fan, I admit that I was wrong. It's all my fault. I will not be used to my brother. We compound, okay? She looked at Lu Fan with pleading eyes. But Lu Fan's expression did not change at all. He said coldly, it's impossible. We can't go back anymore. Xiaoxin, please leave quickly. Lu Fan turned around and was about to leave. But Bai Xiaoxin said, no, you still have me in your heart. We have been in love for 4 years. You can't just let me go. Lu Fan, as long as you are willing to go back, I will promise you anything. I beg you. Lu Fan was bewildered and angry by her, and then said, everything? Well, I ask you, are you willing to get rid of the relationship with your family for me? Can you refuse your brother's plea for help? Will you not listen to your mother? When asked, Bai Xiaoxin hesitated and said, I. You can't do it. Even if you can do it, I won't look back. Lu Fan's eyes refused. Suddenly, he pushed Bai Xiaoxin aside. Damned woman, die for me. Unbearable. Gu Yiming smashes a red wine bottle at Bai Xiaoxin. Lu Fan is awe-inspiring. He is on the top of his knee. His strength runs through his lower leg and kicks Gu Yiming on his chin. Gu Yiming screamed miserably and flew backward. When he landed, he was in a miserable shape with bleeding nose and mouth. Look at Lu Fan's eyes suddenly changed. At this time, Lu Fan seems to be a murderer, filled with a frightening pressure. He struggles to get up. Lu Fan stares at him again. Gu Yiming is scared and runs away in a hurry. Clown hum. Lu Fan cold voice way. Ignore Bai Xiaoxin. Walk to He Xiaojie side. When Bai Xiaoxin saw that young and beautiful girl holding up Lu Fan's arm, her only hope was broken. At this moment, she understood what Lu Fan's can't go back meant. It's dark outside Yisheng Garden. He Xiaojie timely took back the arm. Lu Fan whispered, thank you, so she will die. Van, won't you regret it? He Xiaojie just listened to him and understood the past of Lu Fan and the woman named Bai Xiaoxin. They must have been in love. Lu Fan took a deep breath, but the taste of the wine actually faded a lot. He shrugged, pointed to himself, and said with a smile, rich people are scum men. And you, brother Fan, I am a rich man. Come on, I'll take you to the bar. Xiaojia was stunned and said, "Huh? Brother Fan, come on, you've drunk so much that you haven't drunk enough. That's where we are. We're not drunk. If you don't want to go there, I'll go alone." Lu Fan joked. Xiaojia said, "Go, of course. I'll take a taxi right away. What else can I do? Take my car. I'll drive first." Lu Fan said and went to the roadside. 5 minutes later, Xiaojia came out with a bag and looked around to see which car was on. But Lung didn't find out. Here, a voice came from behind. Xiaojia turns to see Lu Fan and the big iron box beside him. The air suddenly quiets. Van, this is your car?" Xiaojia has an incredible look in her eyes. "Yeah, it's really hard to get this car." Under the dim light, Lu Fan showed his white teeth. Hee, this car is really difficult, I got it." This second, Xiaojia felt that he was dreaming. "Brother Fan, it's a junk car." Xiaojia couldn't help swallowing. "Yes, I have a customized car for picking up garbage." "Xiaojia, I tell you, there is a way to pick up garbage." Lu Fan talks, and Xiaojia on the other side suddenly laughs. "Van Gogh, you are really interesting. I believe that now. The life of rich people is really boring and boring." Lu Fan immediately turned his lips and lost the desire to go on. "But where should I sit? In the garbage can or on the front bumper?" Xiaojia gave a sly smile. Lu Fan is also happy. To be honest, Xiaojia is the first person who knows that he picks up garbage without discriminating against him. "Yeah, let's take this car." Lu Fan takes out the car key. Already ready, Ferrari lights up the response. Xiaojia looked in the past, stunned. This car looks too expensive. Lu Fan opened the back compartment and put the bicycle in. This operation makes Xiaojia dumbfounded. Ferrari with a collection of broken bicycles, never with. Lu Fan sat directly in the passenger seat and asked, "Can you drive?" Xiaojia hesitated. "Yes, but I didn't." "That's good, you drive." There is no doubt about Lu Fan's words. Xiaojia can only stick to her head and drive carefully. And this scene happened to be seen by Xiaoxin, who came out. She guessed well. Lu Fan really made a great success. She was supposed to be the hostess of the sports car, but now she's green with regret. She doesn't hate Lu Fan's unfeeling, but is full of disgust to her native family. If her mother knew that Lu Fan is not what she used to be, she didn't know what her reaction would be. Lu Fan was led to the most famous liming bar in Linhai City by Xiaojia's tortoise speed. "Fortunately, the bar is close to me, or I'll fall asleep." Lu Fan yawned and muttered. Xiaojia relaxed his way. "Brother Fan, I dare not drive such a valuable car blindly." Lu Fan smiles, shakes his head, puts down his bike, and walks into the bar with her. Neon flashing, red and red. Countless people here to get drunk, dance, indulge. Here is known as the Dawn Bar, also has its reasons. It is said that the owner of this bar is very resourceful. Many bars in Linhai City have to find her in person. In other words, she has the power of a native emperor. But no one knows whether it's true or not. Lu Fan also heard about it in several golf bars held in Linhai City. The scene of chaos. Lu Fan should be upset mood at this time, but inexplicably become quiet and peaceful. Even the drunkenness just disappeared. Not only that, he also felt that he had an endless strength. Lu Fan can only attribute this magical phenomenon to pills. To Lu Fan's surprise, Xiaojia just watched for a while, but still couldn't help participating in the army of disco dancing. Lu Fan extremely suspected that this girl was not the first time to come here. In front of the bar, a beautiful bartender wearing a long-sleeve shirt with white fancy front and a bow tie is playing with a wine bottle. The wine bottle is like a tamed pet in her hand, dancing fast and handsome. He stepped forward and watched with interest. With her long hair curled up, her face delicate and small, and her eyes focused, she added brandy, rum, and vodka to the glass tower respectively, and the next second she lit it, and the flames flickered. She had already prepared the spoon to guide the rotation. In the blink of an eye, 3 glasses of colorful wine had been prepared. "Would you like a drink?" She has a sweet smile and a nice voice. Lu Fan nodded, picked up one of the cups, but found the taste sweet. "Cocoa liqueur?" The beauty bartender nodded with a smile, handsome and charming. "Xiao Bai, I want the Night Star." Not far away, a woman in a long black dress, long hair, shawl, and snow-white skin cried on the bar. The beauty bartender took a look at Lu Fan and went to the woman. "Xiao Bai, good name." I have to say that her first impression on Lu Fan was amazing. He picked up a book on the bar called Sherry to pass the time. It was a book about bartenders. Hey, don't peek. It's our senior bartender, Imo Xiaobai, Imo Jia. Don't bother. Just at this time, a barmaid grabbed the book and said contemptuously. Lu Fan was stunned to see the body out of shape. Little freckled waiter, can't cry and smile. I don't have. Well, don't be frank. Anyway, don't overdo yourself. Let's forget about your dress. Besides, this is my book. Who let you read it? The waiter sneered. Do you understand? Lu Fan is weird. This liming bar is really awesome. Even the waiters talk so arrogantly. But the other side's words reminded him of one thing. He mysteriously approached and said, Beauty, I want to ask you a secret. Looking at him like this, the waitress thought she was charming and plucked her hair. She disdained to say, Is there a secret to my heart? That's a very low way to chat up. Lu Fan's eyes trembled, and he continued to ask, No, I want to ask where the garbage in your bar is. Then he lit up the garbage bag in his pocket and looked at each other with a smile. The waitress was stunned and then gave a dry smile. Haha, are you a rag picker? With a fortune of 10 billion yuan and a complete ambition in life, we can only rely on picking up rags for the rest of our lives. Lu Fan sighed. Crazy. Hearing this, the waitress shivered and decided that Lu Fan was a garbage collector. She mumbled and hurried away. Lu Fan is helpless. 9 times out of 10 what we said is true. At this time, the waitress suddenly stopped, threw a book back, and walked away with a look of disgust. Ding! The host picked up a copy of Sherry and got the qualification of senior technician bartender. Lu Fan grinned, surprised. Mr. Lu, you are really good. You have done your business here. A half banter came. Lu Fan looked back and saw that she was just the woman who wanted to be the night star. She was stunned, just because he knows. Isn't this the manager Ming I met in the Western restaurant that day? It's you. What a coincidence, Manager Ming. Lu Fan nodded and said with a smile. Bright Heart Moon also sighed head, charming smile. However, Lu Fan continued to drink wine by himself. Ming Xinyu is silly. This man is so rude. With her charm, who can't rush to be courteous and even have people ignore her? Why, Mr. Lu, don't you buy me a drink? Ming Xinyu asked, but she was scolding this rude guy. At this time, the barman just came over from the inside of the bar and said with a sneer, Sister Xinyue, don't be cheated by him. I tell you, he's a rag picker. He can't afford wine. Said a look of disdain at Lu Fan. Ming Xinyu looks at Lu Fan with a smile and doesn't intend to help him explain. Can the man who can take out the diamond card be a rag picker? Joke. I'd like to have a decorer. Lu Fan said faintly, took out a stack of banknotes from his pocket and threw them on the bar. Simple, rough, and powerful. The waitress was stunned, and the contempt and disdain in her eyes were all replaced by shock. It's at least 10,000. Ming Xinyu can't help sighing. She feels that Lu Fan is a little weak. She has strength, but she has to play a pig and eat a tiger. I won't. The maid blushed and whispered. But Lu Fan showed a meaningful smile. The book you just threw is the book of the bartender. Isn't it so simple? The waitress blushed even more. She knew that she had offended the wrong person, so she could only blame her broken mouth. Isn't it good to be so aggressive, man? At this time, a man suddenly came over. This is a young man with short hair and a pair of peach blossom eyes. His smile looks very fake. I have to admit that this man is very handsome. At first sight, he is the kind of man surrounded by women. But at the first sight, Lu Fan felt disgusted from the bottom of his heart. Sun Wei. Ming Xinyu was surprised, and a trace of disgust flashed in her eyes. The waitress looked at each other gratefully and said, Thank you, Sun Xiao. Sun Wei nodded very gentlemanly, turned to Si Xiang Ming Xinyu, and said softly, Xinyue, long time no see. Ming Xin Moon show eyebrow light wrinkling, casual. Sun Wei's eyes flashed an imperceptible haze. Then he looked at Lu Fan and said, Man, it's not your identity to embarrass a waiter. Lu Fan sneered and said, It's none of your business? Sun Wei's face was obviously stiff and his eyes narrowed slightly. Ming Xinyu is happy in his heart. This guy can really hate people. Decry, it tastes sweet and sour. It's the best for girls. Let me have a try. Sun Wei said very gracefully, showing his magnanimity before the maid and Ming Xin Moon. Please give me this brandy. Black cherry brandy, white jundu orange wine, green mint wine. He said with a smile to the waitress. who hastened to cooperate. His technique is not so fancy, but it is very elegant, wonderful technique. Gorgeous color blend together, dazzling. The last cup is made of orange daiquiri. The waitress's eyes were already starry. Even Ming Sinyu's eyes at Sunway were surprised. She has known Sunway for a long time. She only knows that he is a playboy, but she didn't expect that he has such an ability. Please. Sunway handed it to Ming Sinyu. Ming Sinyu hesitated and took it. At the moment when she was about to drink, a hand suddenly reached out and pushed away the glass. Pa! The glass broke. Ming Sinyu was startled and retreated. Sunway looked at Lu Fan with an iron face. His eyes were cold, and he said harshly, "What are you doing?" Ming Sinyu also looks at Lu Fan, who looks indifferent and doesn't know why. "Lu Fan, what are you doing?" she said in surprise. Lu Fan looked at Sunway coldly and said with a sneer, "I'm afraid this wine is not clean, is it?" Sunway's face changed slightly. Sunhan said, "What are you talking about?" Ming Sinyu hears the words, and her face is also uncertain. In a moment, she thinks of many things. About Sunway, according to her understanding, Sunway's private life is very chaotic, which is the reason why Sunway has been pursuing her and she refuses to agree. Lu Fan, are you serious? Ming Sinyu still doesn't believe it. She saw Sunway mixing wine with her own eyes. Sunway can't do anything. If it's true or not, we'll know. Lu Fan confidently said with a smile that he would stare at Sunway's sleeve. If I guess correctly, it should be in your sleeve. Lu Fan's eyes indicate that Ming Sinyu and the waitress also look at Sunway's right sleeve. Ming Xin Yuamu, Zong Feng, whispered, "Sunway, what he said is true or false. Let me have a look." As soon as this word comes out, anyone will know that Ming Sinyu is doubting. "Xinyue, you don't believe me. People can't trust me. Can you still trust my character?" Sunway is angry and innocent, then points to Lu Fan. With a word of his casual doubt, Ming Sinyu said calmly, "The clear one is clear. You doubt me." Sunway became angry, as if he had suffered a great injustice. In anger, he looked at Lu Fan. His teeth clenched, said, "You instigate. Deliberately framed me. Is it for the pursuit of the new moon? It's a great way.